Done a commentary in a while, and this is also my first official Twitch stream, so let's get right into it. As you can see, I'm playing Bloodborne. I'm making this video because I wanted to show you a role-playing slash cosplay, or whatever you want to call it, setup in Bloodborne. So I actually made Caius from the FF13 trilogy, Caius Ballad, as a character in Bloodborne. I went through the entire game with this character, bosses and chalice dungeons, if you're familiar with Bloodborne. And you'll see that a lot of the things about this character fit very well thematically with how he is in the actual FF13 trilogy. So, for example, you can choose an origin story of sorts in Bloodborne, which corresponds to the character's background. And for this, I chose Cruel Fate, which, if you know anything about his character arc in the FF13 trilogy, is quite appropriate. For his weapon, I have the Ludwig's Holy Blade, which is a great sword, which is the closest that I could get to his real weapon, Chaos's Revenge, although he does not wield the great sword two-handed, he only wields it one-handed. But in Bloodborne, the one-handed form of this weapon is not a great sword, it's merely a long sword, so I just wield it two-handed. And that's the closest I'll get to Chaos's Revenge. But what's the most interesting is the fact that in Bloodborne you have these abilities called Hunter's Tools. They're not really spells per se, but they are special abilities, and they do correspond very well to some of his actual abilities in the 13 trilogy. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go through a few of them and test them on some enemies. So there's an enemy there, and I'm going to first use the Old Hunter Bone, which turns his normal, turns your character's roll or quick step into basically a ninja dash. So that's kind of like how he moves in the 13 trilogy. So as you can see, I'm kind of being a ninja here, and I'll just take out this guy. But as you can see, he moves. So it's very much like his dash towards you when he does a physical attack in the 13 trilogy. So that's pretty interesting, right? There are better examples that I'm going to show you now. First, let me kind of reload my bullets, or mana in this game, the equivalent of mana. So the next one I'm going to show you is the tiny Tonitrus. What this does is it sends a shockwave of lightning towards the enemy in a straight line. So this is going to resemble his ability Blast Wave in the 13 trilogy. There are two forms of Blast Wave, one that sends the single shockwave straight out, and then one that sends three shockwaves in a triangular trajectory in front of him. But so this is going to resemble the single line shockwave that you see in the 13 trilogy. So isn't that cool? And I have a few more of these. So next up, I'm gonna run away from this guy so I can de-aggro him, and then set up this next ability, which is a Call Beyond. This represents, or you could take it to represent, Pulsar bursts. What it does is it sends out a bunch of projectiles toward the enemy, similar to Pulsar burst. So I'm gonna use it on this guy. So there we go. So that is Pulsar Burst, otherwise known as a Call Beyond in this game. So for the next, I'm actually going to sort of respawn, so I can reset all the enemies and show you the other abilities. And before I do that, I just want to throw in here, I did recently set up my Twitch account and do all of this stuff with my new microphone and getting my PS4 as well as my PS3 set up, because I am planning to start streaming in about a month, beginning with the Bloodborne expansion, the Old Hunters, and along with that, I'm also actually developing a Bloodborne guide, which I plan to demonstrate live via stream once I've finished writing it up and once the DLC comes out. hopefully you guys will find that to be interesting. So, okay, so we've got 2 more I wanted to show you. The first ability, if you think back to the 13 trilogy, he does an ability called Chain Break in 13.2, and it's called Invigorate in Lightning Returns. But basically what it does is it kind of repels you, the player, and kind of like knocks you back and interrupts your combo or whatever. And so there is a hunter's tool in Bloodborne called Beast Roar that does the exact same thing. It deals no damage, just like how Chain Break and Invigorate dealt no damage, and it knocks over small to medium-sized enemies very efficiently. So I'll demonstrate it on this guy. So that is Chain Break or Invigorate. I'll do it again. It's very useful. One of the more useful hunter's tools. And then finally, we have the Executioner's Gloves in Bloodborne, which are probably, out of all the hunter's tools, it's the best damage option as long as your build accommodates damage using hunter's tools. And what I equate this to is Eye of Bahamut in the 13 trilogy. So if you remember, Eye of Bahamut is sort of this projectile move that deals status ailments to you. But in Bloodborne, it deals damage strictly. And it actually sends 3 sort of magic homing skulls. And that is, I mean, it's not that close to Eye of Bahamut visually, but I like to think so because it's very useful. So as you can see here, I can just kill these enemies very easily using the Executioner's Gloves. So that is a quick demonstration of how to roleplay as Caius in Bloodborne, and as I said, I'm going to be starting my live streaming sessions for real once the Bloodborne DLC comes out, so hopefully you look forward to that. Okay, thanks.